Hello and welcome back to Joe's Knows NFL. Today, I have a very special episode right before this NFL season starts. 2023 award predictions. Last year, those awards were very exciting. A lot of upsets, and we're hoping for a lot more this year. Of course, we have Will Kukowski, Brian Burke, Giacomo Imperiale, and me, Jack Kemler. And, usually we could do us four like we've had the past two episodes, but we might want to add somebody who is a huge contributor to this club, was one of the presidents. And I think we can all agree he is the GOAT of St. Joe's Broadcasting. Yep.
Yeah, I'd say he is. He takes a play. I think Saketh is still my number one, but that's just that's a personal take.
Wow.
Yeah. Anybody watched last year? I think you all disagree with them, but of course we have Ben Chadwick.
How's it going, fellas? I just got a massive ego boost from Jack right there, which I was not expecting coming on here. So I appreciate it. No, it's good to be back, boys. I'm not going to be back for every episode, so people at home, don't worry. I'll be doing stuff up here, but no, I'm excited to be on the show today, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course he's at Syracuse University, so if you want to watch anything, go to all those networks that Syracuse has. But just a quick reminder for our point system: 100 points for correct award prediction this year. So that's going to be a lot to the ending points for all of us except Ben, because not a recurring guest. But we're going to start this off with the comeback play of the year. Last year, Geno Smith won it with a very solid year, being the QB7 in fantasy points. Will, start off with your prediction for comeback play of the year.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious who. I'm just going to get it off. Damar Hamlin is obviously going to win it. Most likely he plays a snap. It's heroic what he's done. It's a miracle that he's playing football, and he probably should win it. But aside from that, I'm going to take John Mechie. Coming back from, he had non-Hodgkin's leukemia, I believe. And coming back, this guy, not just, coming back from having cancer, but he's going to be a really talented wide receiver in that Texas core. Houston core. They have a lot of talent. They've Tank Dell is a sneaky guy. They're gonna have Mechie also. It's a core that is gonna go under the radar, but who knows? Him and TJ Stroud might build up a connection. It's a personal take. I think he's gonna be a pretty big asset for that Houston team.
Brian.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Will, saying that Damar Hamlin's probably going to win this award. But I want to point to this guy. He had 2 concussions last year. He couldn't play the rest of the season. They made it to the playoffs. The backup quarterback had to play. I'm going to go Tua Tagovailoa. We were talking about MVP in the beginning of the season. He fell off. He had a concussion against the Bills, and then he still played through the concussion. Then he had a season-ending injury against the Bengals. He had to get carted off, and it's just an unfortunate situation for Tua. But I feel like he can come back next year, especially with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, probably one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL right now. So I feel like he has a lot of targets, and he could be comeback player of the year.
Guac.
Yeah, 2 very good picks by Will and Burke. I'm going to disagree, though. I'm going to go with the guy towards ACL very early in the season. I'm going to go Javonte Williams from the Denver Broncos. I think that with the new coach and Sean Payton coming in, and with Russ hopefully being able to somewhat figure it out and how to throw to receivers again, that Javonte, it's going to open up the run game a lot for this Broncos offense. More improved offensive line as well. I think Javonte Williams could be in for a very, very big year. I think a big enough year that could win him comeback player of the year off that bounce back off that ACL.
Ben?
Yeah, I'm going to go with my man Burke here. Burke also love the mullet right now. I got to throw that out there. No, I'm going to go with Tua. He had a scary injury, those 2 concussions, and everyone knows the clip with his hands, but it was a bad look for the NFL, and the whole massive safety conversation got sparked up once again. So if we're talking about who will win it, obviously Damar Hamlin, but I think there's a good chance Tua comes in second, just because the NFL is trying to try and clear their name with all that. But guys, even last season when Tua was playing, I think he was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He had impressive wins against the Bills and the Ravens, and especially that Ravens game. Over 450 passing yards and 6 passing touchdowns. That is the type of Tua I think we can expect. You got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle. That is a stacked team that he's got over there, and I'm expecting big things from him.
Yeah, great predictions from everybody there. I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to go Calvin Ridley coming off a fully suspended season. I just think him and Trevor Lawrence this preseason, you've been seeing, they've been making that connection. I'm expecting an 80 reception, 1,500-yard, 10 TD season from Calvin Ridley. And I think that's going to be enough for him to win it for the comeback player of the year. Next up, Will starting off for coach of the year recently, Brian Dable, winning it in 2022. Will, what do you got?
I'm gonna actually shoot out 2 picks just because I don't really know how you guys are gonna react to my second pick. I think the easy one here, I'm gonna take Dan Campbell, ACDC. I mean, this line team is gonna be really special this year, and I mean, he has brought them here. He has built the offense, he has built the defense. What he's done has been so impressive. And I think they're just going to keep on taking another step up. I think if they have success deep in the playoffs, maybe they get in, they could, have success there. I think that's what's going to win the award. But aside from that, I think this is going to be like a little bit of a surprise pick. But if Shane Steichen could make this offense a top 15 offense, I'm not talking about like best in the league. I'm saying an offense going to next year, you're feeling good about the Colts. They could probably put up 6 wins, 7 wins. If they put up 7 wins, then Shane Steichen, without a doubt, is going to be getting the coach of the year. I mean, to turn that roster around, it's a sorry roster. Anthony Richardson, has been one of the biggest questions of the offseason. Can this specimen of a man, Derrick Henry playing quarterback, can he be an actual quarterback? He didn't show it in college. If Shane Steichen can make him a solid quarterback, and if the duo of them could lead the Colts, I think he could win it.
Brian?
Yeah, this team was 5-12 last year. The coach was arguably one of the worst coaches in NFL history. And I'm going to take Sean Payton with the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson, he was lost. He was lost in the sauce. And I feel like if Sean Payton figures out this offense and Russell Wilson, he does have some good weapons with Jerry Jeudy, Colin Sutton, and Javonte Williams. So he has the weapons. It's just they need to put it all together, especially with good defense, Patrick Surtain, and no-fly zone. So I feel like if Sean Payton has a winning season this year or even more than 5 wins, I feel like he could be a really good coach of the year.
Jock?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a guy who actually I believe he was one of the runners up for Coach of the Year last year. I'm gonna go with Doug Peterson from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that with the addition of Calvin Ridley coming back, which Jack just talked about, I mean, this Jags team is gonna be very good this year. At least I believe that they will. I think they'll win the division easily, and I think that Doug Peterson and this new scheme where he has more weapons now to play with, the defense got better. I mean, I just think that the scheming that Doug Peterson, he's a lot to play with this year. And also a lot to prove. So I think that not winning it last year is going to spark him to create a more of this elaborate scheme using Calvin Ridley and using this volatile Jacksonville offense.
Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I think Trent Peterson is a great pick, but once again, me and Brian on the same wavelength here. I'm going to go Sean Payton with the Broncos. I think they have a very underratedly talented roster in the NFL, and I think if there's anyone that can tap into that prime Seattle Russell Wilson that we were used to seeing just a couple seasons ago, it's going to be Sean Payton. Don't get me wrong, he was god-awful last year. I don't even know if I'd call him a top 25 quarterback in the NFL last year, but Payton's already used to having undersized quarterbacks in his schemes. Shout out to Drew Brees. We all know all the success they had there. And, I mean, he's one of the most accomplished coaches in the league, and he's going to make a big return right now with the Broncos. And I'm expecting big things. They're not going to win the division, but there's a real chance they're making the playoffs next year.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a guy for this coach of the year that I just think has been ridiculed his past 2 years at this organization. That's Brandon Staley. The Chargers fans have been wanting him fired for so long, but I just think now Kellen Moore coming in as an offensive coordinator, it's going to be both him and Brandon Staley both winning that award because how good this offense is going to be this upcoming year. And I think Chargers fighting for that wild card spot, they're going to be way better than last year. And I got Brandon Staley coming off 2 horrible seasons, actually winning coach of the year. So next up here, we'll have Rookie of the Year for both offensive and defensive. We'll start with offensive last year. Garrett Wilson, of course, right here, winning it. We'll see what the rookie class does here. Will, who do you got?
I think it's Bijan Robinson. And I kind of hope that a lot of people think it's Bijan Robinson because what he's going to be able to do with that Falcons offense is unreal. I think he has a shot to even win Offensive Player of the Year.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Will here. Bijan Robinson, he's just so patient with the ball, waiting for the holes to open. And yeah, he can also receive too. That's one good thing about his game. So he could run on the ground and also get some receiving. So I pick Bijan Robinson.
Walk.
Yeah, I'm also going to take Bijan. I think he's the chalk pick. But I do want to shout out one guy real quick. Don't be surprised when Jordan Addison has a monster season this year. Defenses are going to be honing in on Justin Jefferson. I think he'll lead all rookies in receptions. I think he's going to have the best year out of a rookie receiver. I think that Jordan Addison is up for a monster year. But, I mean, Bijan just flat out the number one option on his team. And we see what he is in college. He's an absolute monster. So I'm going to go with Bijan as well.
Ben?
Yeah, I'll switch things up a little bit here. I do love Bijan Robinson. I think he's the best offensive player that came out of the draft. But I do like the weapons that the Falcons have over there. Not going to say they're going to take away from Bijan too much. I'm talking about Drake London and Kyle Pitts. I'm expecting them to both take steps up. All right, calm down, Will. I see that face over there. But no, I'm going to go with Bryce Young. I think he was and still is the best quarterback from the 2023 NFL draft. I know there was some controversy about that. Anyone that thinks CJ Stroud is better was and still is wrong. Shout out to Matt Friedman. His football IQ is already among some of the best in the league. And the greatest college football coach of all time, Nick Saban, called him the smartest quarterback he's ever coached. And he coached for the Miami Dolphins in the NFL as well. His team at Alabama last year, it wasn't bad. An Alabama team hasn't been bad for a while. But it was not the typical Alabama surrounding offense that we're used to. And Bryce still carried them to an 11-2 record and a Sugar Bowl. And like I said, he's just one of the smartest quarterbacks in the NFL. He's so creative in and outside offense. He's got some utilities to work with. I'll just say that. They're not a good surrounding offense, but I think Bryce is going to make the most out of it, and I think he wins the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, so I totally – actually, I'll let Guac go first. What do you want to say about that, Guac?
Oh, we heard it a couple episodes ago with the atrocity of the Panthers winning first place in the division by Jack Kemler. Still shaking my head. I don't know if this one's worse, though. Bryce Young behind this offensive line is not good. He's not
The
good.
offensive line is good.
Stroud's going to have a better year than Bryce Young anyway. I mean,
Oh,
his system's better.
So you're not worried about
better,
the
and
Texans
he is
O-line?
better.
System's better. Name me some of the Texans receivers that are like actually going to be good.
Hank
Nico Collins.
Nico
No,
Collins
this
is
is
better than
Jack. This is just
All
getting out of hand.
first-year
Adam
rookie
Thielen
receivers.
has.
This is just
Adam
getting out
Thielen
of
does not get the
hand.
job done, dude. Adam Thielen's not good. I mean,
Jock,
this.
Can you name me a receiver on the Houston Texans right now, please?
Yes, John Mechie, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. They're all
Those
better
are all
than
wide receiver threes. Those are all wide receiver threes.
They're all
Not to mention,
they're all like
again,
fun guys.
that-
I mean, they could be good, but I don't really see them being much more than a wide receiver, like two putting up like 700 yards max.
But still,
I mean, and you don't want why don't you want Adam Thielen, Mr. Reliable? This guy's been in the league for 15 to 30 years. Don't know, because he's just consistent. I mean, this guy was a 4th-round pick. I remember there's a whole story about, how he made it to the NFL and how he's become who he is. He's just been doing it for a long time. Of course you want to throw the ball to Adam Thielen.
I mean, but again, Jack tried to downplay this a couple episodes ago as well. This Panthers offensive line is atrocious. Like the 15th ranked best, they got worse than last year. I'm telling you. I have seen the starters play in the preseason. They look terrible. Starting offensive line. They are not good. Bryce Young is going to be forced under a ton of pressure this year, and he's going to have to get rid of the ball fast, which, I mean, it's not
which he's very good at, which he
Yes.
strongly succeeded at in Alabama. And also on top of that, preseason just has to be, once again, taken out of everything. And the one reason preseason means nothing will always go to the Jamar Chase. Oh, this guy's going to be a bust. He can't catch a football. Now he's one of the best receivers in the league. Preseason's a joke. It means nothing. You could barely predict anything off of how the players perform. And I don't think the 5 offensive linemen who have played 35 snaps together in their second preseason game with maybe a rookie, maybe a guy they just signed, maybe a guy from the practice squad, I don't think they were really as tuned in as they might be come week 3 and 4. And the Panthers really aren't competing with much. I kind of like this pick.
Thank you, Will. Yeah, I'm also going to agree with Ben. I think Bryce Young is going to win it. I loved him in college. I loved his improvisation game, I guess you could say. He was so good with it, and I think that's the best thing he's going to do with Carolina. Even if Guac saying that O-line is going to be bad, which I do not think it is, but if it is, we saw that Alabama O-line wasn't great, wasn't something he's really seen. We've seen through his high school career and his college career. He's always had the best. He's always the best weapons, best coaches. He finally had some struggle at Alabama last year and still turned up. So I still think he's going to win that Offensive Rookie of the Year. But Bijan, very close second. I just don't like that committee backfield with Tyler Algier and Cordell Patterson. I could see them stealing some snaps from him. So getting on to the Defensive Rookie of the Year, who won it last year, also a Jet, Sauce Gardner, one of the greatest rookie seasons I think I've ever seen, according to PFF, Ben Chadwick legacy. So we'll see what Will does here with his Defensive Rookie of the Year pick.
I'm actually going to be really stale with this. I think he's probably like the most he's at the highest odds to win it, Will Anderson. I really enjoyed what I saw in preseason. I'm going to go, I'm not saying that. He also is probably the best defensive player drafted. I know you guys are going to go for one of the corners. Witherspoon's currently hasn't practiced since August 6th, so really not impressed with or not anticipating a lot. He's going to maybe take a few weeks to get started, but Will Anderson, he's playing a division with some of the worst O-lines you could find. Titans, Colts. It's really, they're not, the Jaguars don't really have a strong O-line. He's just going to be, he's a monster also. He's fast. He's strong. He is basically, to me, a better and more athletic version of Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe not stronger, but what he's going to be able to do, he might have 9 to 10 sacks his rookie season. He's going to be a really, really talented edge rusher.
Yeah, huge utility guy for that Bears defense. So, Brian, what's your pick?
So last year, the runner-up was the Seattle Seahawk. I feel like he could have won the rookie defensive rookie of the year. But Sauce Gardner, I'll give it to Sauce Gardner. He was a really good corner. But this year's going to change. The defensive rookie of the year is going to be a Seattle Seahawk. And his name is Devin Witherspoon. He might be out a couple weeks in practice, but it doesn't matter. I feel like he's a very physical cornerback, and you really need that in this league. Pete Carroll has worked with physical cornerbacks before. When I see Devin Witherspoon, it reminds me of Richard Sherman. If I'm being honest, he's very physical, and he can play the ball. He can get interceptions, and I just like this pick at Devin Witherspoon, defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, and real quick, if you don't mind, I just want to add, he was number 2 on my list. I was actually pretty close with him and Anderson. I do want to say, I think Witherspoon, he missing practice is all right. He's just gonna keep getting better as the year goes on. But I think he might even be I'm looking at next year DPOY. He's really talented. I do see what you see in that Richard Sherman. He hits hard. So I really like this guy.
Yeah, Chuck.
Yeah, I'm just very surprised that, in my opinion, the chalk pick hasn't popped up yet. I'm just gonna, in the words of Nick Sirianni, the fact that this man fell to 8 is just an absolute crime. Jalen Carter will terrorize the league this year. This man, I had him going 1 in the draft this year. I think he's a better player than Will Anderson, flat out. I think he's a better pass rusher. I had Jalen Carter at number 1. Jalen Carter was my favorite player coming out of the draft. He is going to, and it's coming from a Giants fan. I'm not looking forward to seeing the Eagles at all on this guy up front. I think that him next to Fletcher Cox is going to be the most lethal D-tackle duo that I think I've ever seen. Jalen Carter is in for a massive year. I think bigger than any of these 2 rookies that these 2 up here said.
Yeah, it's just a big question if the Eagles D-line is so good that it's going to hold back Jalen Carter. We'll see in this upcoming season. Ben, who's your pick?
For the first time, I think, ever, I'm going to agree with Guac here and also go with Jalen Carter. I like you guys said, I did the shows last year, NBA, college football, NFL, even 1 or 2 times, I believe. I don't think I ever agreed with Guac, but I'm also going to go Jalen Carter from the Eagles. Yeah, him falling all the way to 9 to the Eagles was blasphemy in my opinion. I know there was some pre-draft off the field stuff, but again, as per usual, it turns out that none of that will even matter at all. I think he was the best player in the draft, not best prospect because there is the value with Bryce Young and quarterback, but yeah, he was the best football player in the draft last year. He was the best defensive prospect by a mile, I believe, also better than Will Anderson. He's just a monster pass runner, a monster in the run game. He was incredible at both of those in Georgia. And yeah, I know Georgia's defense was stacked, but guess what? So is the Eagles defense, and so is that front that Jock mentioned. They got Jordan Davis over there, and Fletcher Cox. So Jock says it's going to be a defensive tackle duo. I think it's going to be a trio. So, I mean, that could take away some snaps from Jalen Carter, but I think being a top 10 pick, he's going to get priority over maybe one or even both of those guys. Do I think he will win it? No, because I think Will Anderson's stats will be a little bit better since he will be on the field pretty much every defensive play. But I definitely think he should win it. I think he'll be the best defensive rookie next year, just playing football.
Yeah, back-to-back defensive linemen there for Ben and Guac, but I'm going to go to the cornerback route just like Brian did. I'm going to go Christian Gonzalez on the Patriots. You saw last year where Jack Jones drafted in the 4th round, very raw talent, and Bill Belichick turned him into a very good cornerback last year in his rookie year. And it's kind of just like Christian Gonzalez. Devin Witherspoon coming out of that draft was very polished cornerback. Christian Gonzalez, very raw. A head coach could really turn him into a really elite cornerback. And I think who's the best defensive coach to do that? That's Bill Belichick. I see Christian Gonzalez, just like Stephon Gilmore did a couple of years ago for the Patriots. I see him winning that defensive player of the year like Stephon Gilmore did. But I expect Christian Gonzalez to have a very good year and win that defensive rookie of the year. Now getting on to the big 3 awards, offensive player of the year here. Will, who do you got?
This is going to be something that not many people are going to go with, but I'm going to take Nick Chubb here. I think Mr. Consistent finally steps up in a big way. The past 4 years, fantasy owners have been begging the Browns, begging them to get rid of Kareem Hunt. They just want a single backfield, no more committee. This guy's the best running back in the NFL past 6-7 years. Derrick Henry's up there. Derrick Henry probably better, but I mean, he's just been doing it. He just is the man. And finally, without Kareem Hunt, the ability to get some passing attention with a pretty versatile offense now with Deshaun Watson at quarterback, I think his touches are going to be a little bit higher. He's going to have more targets, more ball share. I mean, he's just going to have the ball in his hands at least 30 times like a game. I mean, and that him have the ball in his hands 30 times a game, that's scary. I think he's going to win it.
Yeah,
and I think sorry, Jack. Like you said, I mean, best running back in the league, which I think is kind of a controversial thing. Everyone brings up Christian McCaffrey. Everyone brings up even Austin Eckler, but I think that's more of a fantasy type thing. But yeah, Nick Chubb, the past 2-3 seasons, has been the best running back in the league. He's got the best run blocking O-line in the league. It's not my pick, but I absolutely love that pick by Will right there.
Yeah, last year Justin Jefferson winning it, so no receivers picked yet. Brian, where are you going?
I'm going to go with a running back here too. I'm going to pick Christian McCaffrey. Right now, the quarterback situation, I'm not liking it personally. Brock Purdy's injured right now on his throwing arm too. So you could see that Christian McCaffrey will be running a lot. Also, he'll be getting checkdowns a lot. So he's going to get the ball a lot, I feel like, this season. And I feel like he's going to do some great things with the 49ers offense. Probably get some more yards. And, Christian McCaffrey's my pick.
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to jump in real quick. I mean, McCaffrey, I really like McCaffrey. Obviously, would have been my OPOY because, I mean, he's a man. The only thing that concerns me with him is Elijah Mitchell maybe coming in, taking some of those rushing yards. Him just being a little bit more of a big back, a little stronger. But I mean, there's still Christian McCaffrey still has the ability with him in the backfield to win the award. That's what makes him so special.
Yep.
Guac.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one went receiver yet because that's where I'm going. I'm going to go with the receiver. I think there's a lot of good ones this year. But shout out Jack Kemler and the New York Jets. I'm going to go Garrett Wilson. I think that Aaron Rodgers-Garrett Wilson connection is going to be really special this year. And that's coming from a crosstown rival. I think that Garrett Wilson is going to be a top 5 receiver this year. I think he'll be up there, man. I think he's going to have that special of a season with Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. So look out, man. Garrett Wilson is coming this year.
Can I ask something real quick? If he's going to be a top 5 receiver, why wouldn't the 4 better receivers win the award?
I think he did the rankings last year, and he's going to jump up in the top 5.
Okay, I got you. I'm sorry.
That's what I mean. Like, he was already special as the rookie. I'm saying he's going to be even better. Like this year, he's going to be that special.
Look, I love it. He's not my first pick, but he's definitely right there, my second or third. But Ben, who do you got?
He's not going to win it. I don't think a player at this position will ever win it. This is who I think should win it. He's not going to win it. Let me just throw that out there. I'm going to offensive tackle. Give me Trent Williams from the San Francisco 49ers. He is the second best offensive player in the NFL. You got Patrick Mahomes, fine, but I don't see him MVP again. He's the best. He's the second best offensive player in the NFL behind the alien that is Patrick Mahomes. He's been the highest graded tackle the last 3 seasons, according to PFF. Shout out Max Chadwick. Of course, got to give him his credit, even though he doesn't do those grades. He was the highest graded player, period, 2 seasons ago. Once again, will he win it? No. But O-linemen never get any respect with any awards, and I think that's really bad. I think the NFL should implement kind of what college does, where they do an award for each position. I think that'd be an awesome thing to see them do. But yeah, I mean, if I had it my way, I think this guy who should have won it 2 seasons ago and should win it this year will win the award and hoist that trophy at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Ben's making it tougher on me. I'm gonna have to somehow find Trent Williams highlights to put in this video, but you're definitely enjoying them right now. Yeah, so for my offense player of the year, this is a team that, Ben very likes. And I think this player, when he had the ball in his hand last year, when the other running back was not there and injured, I think he was one of the best offensive players in the league, and that's Tony Pollard. Man, him with the ball is just so good. You go back and watch the film last year with that Cowboys O-line, he was so damn good. And him running ball without Ezekiel Elliott, it makes my mouth water. I love Tony Pollard in that Cowboys offense. And I really think he's going to win the offensive player of the year and really just blow up for a great fantasy season and NFL season to get those Cowboys not to the division winner, because, I mean, we know the Eagles are going to win it. Sorry, Ben. But I think Tony Pollard's really going to lead that offense instead of Dak Prescott. And Will, who do you have for that defensive player of the year? Recently, Nick Bosa winning it in 2022.
I mean, this guy had the most. This guy kind of just keeps getting better every year. Is sneakily one of the best defensive players year in, year out, and just somehow just gets better every year. I'm gonna take Chris Jones here. I think he's gonna be a better D tackle than Aaron Jones. Aaron Donald. I knew I said it wrong. That's why. All right, okay. But Chris Jones is a monster. I mean, he is one of the reasons that Chiefs defense is so strong. He is the guy. I mean, what he does on the interior, also the quarterback pressure, by far one of the strongest, one of the biggest leaders on that defense. I mean, he's the reason the Chiefs are who they are defensively. Of course, Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the ball is, the reason why, they're such a good team. But I really love Chris Jones.
Once again, I mean, Will, with your pick before, I absolutely loved it. This kind of reminds me of my Trent Williams pick, because I don't think Chris Jones has any shot of winning it. I love this pick. It's got me contemplating whether or not I want to switch my pick over to Chris Jones. I'm not gonna, but I mean, Will's killing it right now.
We got a special connection going on right now. I love
a weird thing going on right now.
I like it.
Burke on the same wavelength 2 straight times. I don't know what's going on right now, but
I think this means you got to be a frequent visitor. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see about that. We'll have to see about that.
We'll see.
Yeah, currently, Chris Jones in a holdout right now during training camp has racked up, I believe, $1.3 million in fines not signing that contract with the Chiefs. Burke, who do you have for your defensive player of the year?
He's probably the favorite. Chadwick, you might be happy about this one, being a Cowboys fan. But I'm going to take Micah Parsons here. He's just so fast and strong. He can rush the QB. He can coverage and forces fumbles. It's just all you need in a defensive player. This helps out the Cowboys defense so much, and I want him as my defensive player of the year.
Let's go, Clark.
Yeah, I think that this really does show that my bias is being put aside between the Garrett Wilson and the Jalen Carter picks. Micah Parsons should run away with this award. I think he cements himself as the best defensive player in the league. I mean, this guy terrorized the league last year, and he's just going to keep getting better and better. You want to talk about a guy that just keeps getting improvements year after year? It's this guy. I mean, he should win it, and I think he will win it.
Ben, can you go 3 for 3 with Micah Parsons?
I mean, Jack, what else did you expect? It's time. There it is one more time. I swear it's the last time I'm throwing it up.
You want? Okay.
Wait, real quick. I do want to say we're not sponsored by Coca-Cola. Just got to put it out there.
Oh, no, but I do love it. Yes.
Not sponsored.
Yes, there we go. No, it's Micah Parsons. Not by a mile. It's a really tough award. You got Sauce Gardner, who I'm sure might be mentioned in just a few seconds after my pick. You still got Myles Garrett. You still got Nick Bosa, who just won it. But I think it's finally time for Micah to win. He plays second for DPOY in both of his first 2 seasons in the NFL, and he can only get better. And guys, I'll just flat out say it. I don't think he's a great how do I say this? Just a great technicality type of pass rusher. Like his pass rush moves coming into the NFL and even his rookie seasons weren't great. He was just such a freak athlete and knew exactly how to use that. And those pass rush moves are only going to get better. He had 13 sacks in year 1, 13 and a half in year 2. If you do the math, that number is going to keep climbing. I'm expecting at least 14, maybe even 15 sacks this year. And that should be more than enough for Micah to walk away with the DPOY.
Yeah, I also have Micah Parsons winning the award, but just 3 people in a row just talked about him. So I'm going to talk about my second pick. I'm going to talk about Quinnen Williams. If in a world a D tackle actually wins the award, I think Quinnen Williams has a very big chance. Last year, took that huge step, was a first-team All-Pro, and just really an amazing year alongside Sauce Gardner. But if anybody was watching that Hard Knocks, one of those episodes when they had a joint practice against the Panthers, he had 10 sacks. 10 sacks in 2 drives, he said. Aaron Rodgers was telling everybody Quinnen Williams has 10 sacks. So
all right, maybe their O-line isn't that good.
Yep, I was just about to say this just shows
I don't know,
that
man.
I shouldn't have said that. I forgot about that.
Panthers in first is terrible.
It is Quinnen Williams though. So
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, defensive player of the year right there. We have 4 Micah Parsons and 1 Chris Jones. That is very lopsided. So hopefully, we push for Micah Parsons. Sorry, Chris Jones. And the last award to do it here, always the best award, but sometimes not pick the most justly. We'll see how the NFL does it this year with the MVP award. Will start it off.
So I'm going to take the best quarterback this year will be Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be what this offense is going to be this year. Adding Calvin Ridley. Evan Ingram is probably going to just keep on taking a step up. Doug Peterson has turned Evan Ingram into something unlike his lowly tight end status on the Giants. And I think this offensive line also is kind of just improved slightly. Enough to where, Etienne is a very talented running back, I believe. I believe he's one of the better running backs in the league. Him and Tank Bigsby. Come on, shout out Tank Bigsby. But that offense surrounding him is going to be so amazing. T-Law is such a talented quarterback. He's one of the best prospects, and he's finally found his peak. Him and Doug Pearson are doing special things. I think they could even push to make it to the AFC Championship. This is a really talented team, and he's leading it.
Last year, this QB, I'm taking QB of this MVP. Probably his best season last year. And I don't think he's going to stop. I'm going to take Jalen Hurts MVP this year. He just has the best surrounding. As I said earlier, NFL, the Eagles have the best surrounding cast in the NFL. And he has one of the best wide receiver duos in A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, tight end Dallas Goedert, and added DeAndre Swift. Best O-line. His QB dive is pretty much unstoppable last year. So I feel like he's going to have a lot of rushing upside in this O-line and can get a lot of rushing touchdowns as well as passing touchdowns. So I'm taking Jalen Hurts in this one.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, you could have said he could have won it last year, but also missing 2 games to that shoulder injury. So that definitely hurt his chances against Patrick Mahomes ultimately winning it. Guac, who do you have?
Yeah, everybody's been waiting for this. I know Ben's been waiting for this. Throw up the spicy guac take. I want it right now.
Oh, man, number 2.
Oh, we got a spicy guac.
We want it right now. Right now. All right. We'll steal my thunder a little bit, but I'm going to take a step further. My MVP pick is Trevor Lawrence, but he will be leading the 2023-2024 Super Bowl champion Jacksonville Jaguars. You heard it here first. Jacksonville winning the Super Bowl this year, led by Trevor.
I like it. I said it last year. It didn't quite happen last year. Almost did. They almost beat who they played against the Chiefs. They probably got steamrolled. I don't know. I like what Jacksonville slightly improved their defense. If it's not abysmal this year, they have a shot. But their defense is still holding them back.
I really think that I was very tempted to take Calvin Ridley for Offensive Player of the Year. I think that he's going to have that good of a season. Jacksonville offense is
overreacting.
So good this year. They play nobodies all year in the division, and the only thing, in my opinion, really standing in their way is the Kansas City Chiefs. It's really the only team. I think
that's it. Just the Chiefs.
Book the Jags to the Super Bowl.
I'm going to have to add spicy guac take number 2 there.
All right,
And that is-
real quick. I just have to add, Guac, this is just kind of going back to the overall message of the overhype of preseason. We see
They're 3-0.
Calvin Ridley
3-0.
run 3 practice drills, like run a practice rep against a coach holding like a dummy bag, run it at full speed, and we like immediately think this guy's put up 1,500 yards. That is the sick nature of what NFL media has done to people. You guys think that Calvin Ridley's put up 1,500 yards because he had a year off and now his footwork is fast? He's always been that good. He's not going to have a historic season. Like, he's just a fast guy. Like, I don't know. This whole, like, he's going to be amazing because we see stuff on Twitter. Like, if the preseason was, like, publicly, like, broadcast and we saw every little clip, then you would see a lot of good and bad. But, like, just because we see the very fine things, you see just the good and just the bad of guys, and now you overreact. You got to put that away.
I'm not really overreacting. It wasn't like this is before the preseason even started. I mean, on paper, this Jags team just looked very, very good to me. And I think that, again, Calvin Ridley has a much better quarterback throwing him the ball than anybody he did in Atlanta. I mean, this guy really he fits perfectly into this Jacksonville offense, and he's going to take a massive step back to at least, I think he'll be way better than where he was in Atlanta. I'm telling you.
Matt Ryan was a bum.
I mean, to clarify there, the spicy guac take number 3 was him saying that the Chiefs are the only competition in the AFC when you could argue that the AFC is probably the best it's been in NFL's history.
Yep.
So,
the Chiefs really are the only team.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll get to the – yeah, you can go to your MVP pick, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, the guy that is playing for this team, I mean, that's one of the teams that I would say is pretty competitive for the Super Bowl. I'm going with the Bengals. I'm going with Joe Burrow for MVP. Just off the top of my head, you got the Bills, you got the Jets, just to name a couple. I'll just throw those out there. Not going to debate with Guac at the moment, although I do love doing that. No, I'm going with Joe Burrow for my MVP. Guys, I don't like using PFF for quarterbacks. Also, once again, shout out Max Chadwick. But he has been the highest graded quarterback in the NFL for the past 2 seasons. Last year, second most yards per game. The entire NFL, second most touchdowns despite missing a game, and he's got the best wide receiver core in the NFL with Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins, with Tyler Boyd. He's also got a solid O-line. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase also only going to keep getting better. They are very young receivers. They're going to keep growing, and also so is Joe Burrow. He's going to keep getting better, and this is the season where I don't even know if he's going to hit his peak this season, but he is going to be the best quarterback of all the very talented quarterbacks we see in the NFL. Similar to Guac, although he went with the Jaguars, mine is a little bit more modest. Have the Bengals winning the Super Bowl this year, and I believe they will do so while being led by the NFL MVP, Joe Burrow.
Yeah, real quick, guys. Ben, I have a question for you. How much does this early Joe Burrow injury, how much do you think it's going to affect this MVP? Because, to be honest with me, I really think that I don't know if he can, like, right out the gate be at the level that we have seen him at.
I think he absolutely can. I'm not too worried about the injury. I know Will was about to hop in right there. I'm not worried too much about the injury. I actually do remember, I believe I was either hanging out with Will and Jack or someone when that injury went down. We got very worried because, I mean, that is arguably the best quarterback, or no, this is arguably the second best quarterback in the NFL. But I'm not too worried about Burrow. He's gone through worse in college, so I think he'll just plow right through this injury. And I think he's, once again, going to have a fantastic season, MVP year.
Yeah, Ben kind of stole my thunder at the end, but Joe Burrow, can we not forget, I mean, this guy got taunted. He got thrown around in college and still came out on top every single game. I mean, he was like the defense's most hated player. They were out for blood every time they played him. Like, it was personal every time he stepped on the field, and he still came out on top every single time. I mean, Joe Burrow, it's a calf sprain, so Joe Burrow can't be mobile. Okay, he's going to sit in the pocket and deliver some of the most beautiful passes you've ever seen. That's just what Joe Burrow does. I love this pick. I mean, really, really solid pick.
All right, so for the last award prediction, we have is myself with the MVP, and it's going to be different than all of yours. Of course, I'm going to be taking a quarterback. That's the only thing that gets picked recently. But I'm going to be taking also my coach of the year with his quarterback. I'm going to be taking Justin Herbert. I just really think that when Kellen Moore comes in as offensive coordinator, we've seen in the preseason that them two are working very well. We saw the pass coordinator. Him and Herbert were not working well at all, even though Herbert was having very solid seasons. And they also had Quentin Johnston to this offense. Still have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I still really like this team. I have Austin Eckler out of the backfield to always throw to him. So I think that personally, that's my MVP pick. So will that do it for us, guys? Any last comments? All right.
I can send the people off with a Syracuse sunset if you want me to, Jack.
Of course you can.
Please, let the fans see it.
We don't get many
Totally
great
dark
views
with us.
So
Not sponsored by Coca-Cola.
No sponsored by Coke.
We got roommate Zane already with the picture right there. Say hi, Zane. We got a Bills flag over there. Don't expect
don't
much.
love
Big fan
that.
of Bills.
Don't love that.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I mean, shout out Zane. Not
Zane.
sponsored by Zane.
Zane. There he is.
Yep. Go Bills. Josh Allen 2023 MVP.
All right.
No,
That's his pick. We got Zane.
Yo, throw it in.
I know. I really appreciate you guys having me on. Hopefully I can catch up with you guys later on in the year. But no, I can't wait to see what you guys do with the club and with the show this year. And I'll be watching up here in Syracuse, and I'll probably be getting pissed off at Guac quite a few times. So I can't wait for that.
Well, best of
All right,
luck to you,
everybody,
Benny.
Thank you, Benny, for a great episode, and we'll see you in the future. So that also be it for us. Stay tuned for our game predictions for week 1. Going to be very good. Also with the point system, 5 points for each win. If you get 10 plus wins in that week, you get extra 25 points. So this point system is going to be very cool. Don't know if we're going to get a punishment or a reward at the end. We're going to decide. Maybe if you let us know in the comments a punishment, maybe a cake to Guac's face. You never know. That can't be bad. So that'll do it for us here for Joe's Knows Football episode 3 on the 2023 award predictions. So for Will Kukowski, Brian Burke, Giacomo Imperiali, and me, Jack Hemler,